living in the public eye has its benefits and joyful moments, and then there's everything else. And that's not a pity party. That's just, it is what it is. And I do have some incredible people. Listen, many of you from all over the world have emailed me, messaged me, posted comments on any of our forums that have brought tears to my eyes. Without hesitation, I will tell you, I have gotten some of the most incredible comments or messages from people I've never met, unfortunately may never meet in person. And it has changed my life. It has brought me, it has brought Samantha to tears. It's life altering. And I want to thank you for each and every one of them. As I've said in previous videos, it's getting harder and harder to keep up. So please indulge me. I'm doing my best, but I can't always get to them. Alternatively, there are many comments that come my way that you just go, what video were you watching? Like, what? And I've even gone to other members of the staff, right? And gone, hey, help me with this. And they're pretty honest. I mean, they're great people, and they will sometimes go, yeah, that didn't work. That thumbs down, bro. And so I've had videos that I've said, look, we need to take that down. That was terrible. I don't know, coffee shortage. I don't know, but that was bad. But there's moments where you just go, man, like, how did you get that? Like, what language was I speaking that day that made you think that that was what was really said? Or has that ever been said in all these videos that would make you think that I actually believe that? It really gets sometimes weird. And I wanted to do this video today because I want you to understand that we hear through the filter of our own heart. I read this comment even just a couple of days ago that I said, you know, that's so true. We don't see things always as they are. We see things as we are. And oftentimes I've taken some flack where people have said, you know, if my husband heard that, if my spouse or wife heard that, they would take that and they would say, blah, 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 blah. And they machine gun me with this. When you say that, it means this. Whoa. And it's like, whoa, oh. I think if you watch enough videos, you'll see that both me and the rest of the team at Affair Recovery, we absolutely never believe that it's the betrayed spouse's fault that the unfaithful has cheated, or that you deserve to have your spouse cheat on you because you weren't attentive enough to their needs. I mean, there's some temptation to run with some belief systems. And I just want you to know that we see things as we are. You see, we hear through the filter of our own heart. That's why early on with Samantha, I was so inclined at defensiveness and turning things back on her because I was hearing through this justifying, minimizing, defensive, arrogant heart. So anytime I sensed that she was attacking me or that she was being critical of me, I would immediately switch back and go, but you didn't do this, and but you didn't do that, because I was insecure, because I was not healthy or whole enough to simply hear what she was saying and process it, take it as feedback, take it as her impression and her awareness of how I had become this self-absorbed, narcissistic jerkface. I just couldn't hear it without getting defensive. The problem was not necessarily her message, although her messaging wasn't perfect. The problem was not Rick. Rick had been doing that at the time of like 25, 30 years by the time I got to him. The problem wasn't Rick. I was hearing things through the filter of defensiveness and childhood trauma and rejection and self-hatred. So almost any message that was coming my way, I was very quick to go, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. You guys are the problem. not me. My own heart was getting in the way. And oftentimes that's really the case with many who are not in a position because they don't want to put themselves in that position yet to hear the tough things. And so they're hearing through the filter of their own heart, which is dysfunctional, which is still caught up in confusion and minimizing their choices and their actions and trying to manage their image. And so they hear anything and everything through the filter of their own heart. That's why some people may watch a video that you really love and they go, I don't like him, and he's this and he's that. I get it. It happens all the time. I'm okay. I'm secure. I'm not doing this for so many people to just love me because I'm the man. I'm doing this because I want to give back, because I wish that 15 years ago there was something like this for Samantha and I. It would have changed the whole dynamic of our recovery. We see things as we are. And so if you're dealing with a spouse who's constantly defensive, constantly justifying, constantly shifts everything right back at you, maybe it's not the recovery work that you're doing. Maybe it's their own heart which continues to get in the way of objectivity and clarity. That's why many times you, as a spouse, may be trying to communicate to your spouse that you're not attacking or judging. You're just trying to express your needs, your desires, your emotions, your feelings, your hurts, your pains, your dreams, and they constantly just reject it. And there's all this inability to communicate. It's because they can't hear you objectively. There's too much between you and them. There's too much hurt, pain, disappointment, unmet expectations. There's 10, 20, 30, 40 years between you two. There isn't objectivity. That's why you need a safe third party who's an expert that can help communicate with clarity and understanding in a way that your spouse will probably almost never be able to, because they are not an objective third party. You know what's really interesting is early on, Samantha, who had been devastated, who had had her heart ripped out, stepped on, shot, ran over, was really wanting to try and give the marriage a chance. Talk about hearing through the filter of your own heart. I mean, for so many of you betrayed spouses, male or female, you've been devastated. You've been violated, but yet you have the bravery, the courage, the character to still be willing to try and save your marriage. Unfaithful, think about that heart filter. Think about that heart that listens and sees things as they are, that they're willing to look in the face of rejection, maybe addiction, continual infidelity, maybe over months, weeks, years, decades, and yet they are willing to give the marriage a shot. It's incredible to think that Samantha's heart, while damaged, while betrayed, while trampled upon, would hear me through a heart filter that would say, yeah, look at all that he has done to me, and yet I'm willing to be open to restoration. And the struggle was then, should I even do that? Am I mentally off that I would entertain that? Am I a crazy person that I would have this happen to me and still be open and willing to go back to that relationship? No, emphatically, she was not a crazy person, and you are not either. Do not listen to the voices out there that continue to shame and harass and diminish your bravery and courage to be willing to give your unfaithful spouse a chance. Do not listen to that absurdity, because it's not true. You're not a crazy person. We see things as we are. You're seeing the situation with a willingness to try and save the marriage? Fantastic. At the core of this conversation is something I learned from Emerson Eggerichs, who wrote Love and Respect. And some people have kind of taken that now and have given it some heat. Some people have found it to be life-changing. For Samantha and I, we loved it. It was a wonderful piece to our recovery. And in that book, he says something that is just in many ways phenomenal. He says, my response is my responsibility. And I'll tell you, I mean, that's just one of the truest statements you're going to probably hear today. Your response is your responsibility. Sure, people are stupid. People are mean. I had a situation yesterday in a car dealership. Samuel lost his mind in front of a crowd of people. Samuel lectured 3 people very intensely with several cuss words about how mistreating they were of me. I am not proud. I lost it. I make mistakes all the time. So some of you that maybe think, oh, Samuel, Samuel's a train wreck some days, and that's just the way it is. But I will tell you, my response is my responsibility. And in your marriage, how you respond is your responsibility. I mean, I know it's tough. And I know when there's PTSD and it's chaos, and sometimes you can't always control your response, maybe because you're dealing with true trauma. And there's a biological response that you're wrestling with. I get it. But when there's not that PTSD and when there is a true choice in how you respond, it's vital that you understand that your response is your responsibility. Your spouse doesn't make you do X, Y, or Z. You choose to respond the way you are responding. And as long as you can hold on to that truth, it will set you free because you realize you have a choice in how you respond to your spouse's behavior. You have a choice in how you respond to your spouse's choices. You see, it is a life-changing truth to understand the concept of our own personal responsibility. Finally today, if you're constantly struggling with seeing things in this incredibly challenging and difficult light, if you are maybe constantly getting defensive, if you're battling with being accusational or being aggressive or defensive, and all these different things that we talk about every day here at A Fair Recovery, ask yourself, do you think there's some truth to the fact that you're seeing things as you are? How are you responding today? Because your response is your responsibility. Own it. Embrace it. Maybe there's some things that you need to apologize for with your spouse, or maybe to yourself, or maybe some people close around you. Maybe you just need to own the fact that you have made some terrible choices. Owning your terrible choices does not mean that you are a terrible human being. It means that you made some terrible choices and you are man or woman enough to own them and get healthy so that you can begin to see things as you are in a sense of humble, contrite, sober, aware, and compassionate to those that are in pain around you.